Ha! The last 3 months have seen a war waging in the cell phone gimbal category. Big name player Zhiyun very recently released their brand new mobile filmmaker gimbal, the Smooth 4. Is it any good? Let's find out. What's up everyone? I'm the Everyday Dad. If I can figure it out, you can figure it out. I'm a huge fan of cell phone gimbals. I mean, I have like 5 of the darn things in my house right now. So as soon as I heard the big name player Zhiyun was releasing a brand new gimbal, well, I had to buy it like immediately. But before we get too far into it, we've got to get it out of the box. Hwah! Here we go. I purchased the Smooth 4 on Amazon for $139, which considering a few years ago, cell phone gimbals cost about $300, I think that's a fair price for entry. It's a pretty standard gimbal except for 2 instances. One is the turn knob right here that we'll talk more about later, and 2, bucking the current trend on gimbals, there's no joystick here, this is just a control knob. Something right off the bat that I really like is this little tripod that comes with the Smooth 4. When you're out filming, the hardest thing dealing with the gimbal is when you want to set it down because you don't want to take off the phone, you don't want to turn it all, you don't want to take it all apart. Sometimes you just want to set it down, and having that little tripod is so helpful. Yes, you can buy a small tripod to go with your gimbal, but I just like that it comes with one. The physical shape of the device is also a little different than past iterations. Past iterations have been a more rounded shape. This is a more squat, squarish shape, which depending on how you like to hold things, could be good or bad depending on your personal preference. Plus, the entire design of the gimbal itself does feel a little more budgety than normal. I think something we will start seeing in the future is these gimbals are going to start feeling cheaper because they want to hit certain price points like $139. And to do that, you're going to have to start using less robust materials to make the gimbal. Though something physically about the gimbal that I really like is this magnetic latch. When you have your cell phone in the gimbal and you close this latch, it puts it into standby mode, which turns off the motors, but then when you pop it back out, it turns the motors on and you're ready to start filming again. That is a very, very handy quality of life feature that I really like. Also, I store all my gimbals like this anyway, so the fact that it actually sits there in transit and won't move or break is huge for when you want to transport it around. It's awesome. Now, like I said, this is a pretty standard gimbal, and the main 2 controls besides the knob that I want to talk about are these 2 triggers on the back. They both change the pan and tilt response of the gimbal. The top one does what they call phone mode, which makes the gimbal respond very fast to inputs. And the bottom one is the more traditional slow follow mode that causes the gimbal to make slow pans and tilts. Most importantly is it will raise or lower your cell phone. And the rolling wheel, this is the key feature of the Smooth 4. It's the most obvious physical difference. What this does is it allows you to, in-app, you can use a digital zoom to zoom in and out, and you can also change it to manually focus your camera if you really want to have that much control over your focusing. This also lets you do a dolly zoom, which I couldn't actually figure out to get this working. If you're making a movie like Jaws with a cell phone, well then there you go. You can make dolly shots right off your gimbal. Some other main specs that I want to get out of the way. The Smooth 4 is capable of handling phones and accessories weighing up to 7.41 ounces or 210 grams. This should help a lot for those that use clip-on lenses with their phones. You know, it's always hard to find gimbals that will hold your phone and will hold the case and will hold the extra lenses, and this should do it. Also, something that I'm excited about is I found that if I put some counterweights back here, now I have some counterweights from my Feiyutech G5 that I use with my action cameras. I use some double-sided tape to affix those weights to the back of this, and I can use my Sony RX100V with the Smooth 4, which, I mean, yeah, you lose the screen functionality, and it's not in there very securely. I wouldn't do a lot of very robust movement, but just that you can use this as an actual camera gimbal in a pinch, super awesome. It has a built-in 2000 milliamp hour battery that is capable of both being charged externally and charging your phone at the same time through this port right here. Now, it does not have the ability to traverse 360 degrees. Its max pan angle is 300 degrees. Okay, now that we've talked about the specs, we've handled it a little bit, let's head out and start filming. And we're back. So what, right? So what are my initial impressions after 2 days of playing around with the Smooth 4? Full disclosure, I came into this thinking that I was not gonna like this gimbal. It's bigger than my Osmo Mobile 2. It's got a lot of buttons that can get kind of complicated at first, and I really didn't think I was gonna like it that much. But when I started really filming with it, I really like the Smooth 4. One thing that I personally did was I changed it from the Pro app that turns on when you initially pair it with the Smooth 4 to the more basic app that you would normally use with like the Smooth Q. Turning that on made it so much easier to use the Smooth 4, even though you lose a lot of the button functionality, like being able to turn on the menu, being able to switch between the displays, take a picture. You can still record though with the app. I really like it. I think it does a great job. Even with iPhones, like I've said before 1,000 times, iPhones with their optical stabilization does not work very well with gimbals. So it's always hard when you gotta balance a gimbal versus the stabilization built into your phone. But I think the Smooth 4 does a really good job. However, one of the problems I did discover was using my Samsung Galaxy S9 with the Smooth 4 and the Zhiyun app caused a lot of problems where the footage was corrupted or something. It was unusable. I would hold off. Maybe there'll be a firmware update here shortly that will allow the camera on the Galaxy and the app to play better together. But overall, I really like this. I'm excited to start filming with it more. Will it replace my DJI Osmo Mobile 2? I don't know yet. We'll have to do a video about that will probably come out someday this week. Probably Wednesday. Thanks for watching.